What's good, Philly Talk Squad? Your boy Paul, Philly Talk with PA Man, and today I know y'all saw it. Eagles dominate the New York Football Giants, 38-20. Um, this game was closer early on, and then that Scatterboo. I want to start off with first off prayers, thoughts, Cam Scatterboo. I didn't even see it. Right, I saw it, but when he went down, he was just doing this with like his arms. So I thought it was like a shoulder or something. And the commentator, like Tom Brady, kept on like, "Oh my gosh," and I didn't see it. So I went on Red Zone because Red Zone was behind. Went on Red Zone, watched it again. They showed the still shot, focusing on his leg again, and then I obviously we saw what we saw. Um, it's probably most likely done for the year. Um, it's tough. When a guy like that, a guy that brings a lot of juice, a lot of energy to your team, your fan base, goes down. Think the Eagles saw that with a bit when Carson Wentz went down 2017. Um, when Jalen Carter's not in the game, you see how the defense plays versus when he does play. Um, it's just tough. Prayers can't boo, but this game was never really close after, especially after Eagles got that third touchdown at the end of the second quarter going to halftime. Um, Jackson Dart, he did what he could. At the end of the day, look who he's throwing to, and look who they're going up against. Once again, no Malik Neighbors out in the field. Um, you got solid tight ends, but that's Zach Bond, that's N'Kobe Dean. They were they were all over it today. Leading receiver, Wando Robinson 3 for 48. No one really did anything too crazy. Scottaboo ran a nice route, but at the end of the day, was not enough to come out. Dude, I just came back from Wisconsin. Never went back there again. Pretty sure I caught something. But anyways, yeah, Jackson Dart, you couldn't really ask him to do too much with what he was given. 5 sacks. Josh Uche stepping up. Shout out Josh Uche. Carter, Jalen Carter, Jordan Davis, Jalen Hunt had a sack. Everybody getting home against a solid O line for the New York Giants. I think it's the first time you can say that in a while. Solid offensive line for the New York Giants. Um, Jalen Hurts. Now, when we're talking, top QBs and we're doing all these rankings, stats are always something that people use to put Josh Allen, Mahomes. I don't even want to include Mahomes in this conversation. Stats are something people always try to use for Josh Allen, Lamar, Burrow, Herbert, Dak to a certain extent. Even though no one, I don't think even the general public now thinks Dak is. Let me see what they're. Let me see that. 44 to they just scored a garbage time TD, but 44-17. Right now they're losing to the Broncos. But that's neither here nor there. Um Jalen Hurts, yeah, once again, stats are something that people use to put those guys ahead of Hurts until Eagles fans bring out the stats, the numbers that actually put Hurts above all those guys. And then now it's like, well, stats aren't everything. Well, there's also yeah, we know that there's stats, there's talent, there's the intangibles that mentally you can't teach. Things that make Tom Brady the greatest. Because once again, no one is going to argue that Tom Brady is more talented than Aaron Rodgers. As far as throwing the football, certain throws on the run, things that Tom Brady could never do, has never did in his career. We know Aaron Rodgers was a more talented thrower of the football, whatever, than Tom Brady. Yet we all know at the end of the day, we all know who the better quarterback is. There are just things you can't teach. It's some of it's certain other talents, um, mental game, mental tough. We take all those things into account here, because we keep it a stack, we keep it a buck. Um, I'm just looking at this. So Jalen Hurts now, I think 17-2 versus the AFC. Um, only a lot coming to Mahomes, and that game, unfortunately, against Bo Nix a couple weeks back. But right now, this season, Jalen Hurts has 9 incompletions and 7 touchdowns in his last 2 games. While in that time, throwing for 4 tuds, um, then 3 uh, last 2 weeks respectively. Today, threw his 100th career touchdown pass. Um, 15 passing, 15 passing TDs, not even counting total. 15 passing TDs on the season to 1 interception. Now, I know a guy in Dak Prescott who people they swear on their life, no, Dak, he's a better thrower than her. He look at his team, look who he has. So right now, it is they're getting the doors blown off them, and Dak Prescott. Let me look at Dak Prescott real quick. And also, I watched the game. 19 of 31. Oh, he didn't even throw that last. They took him out. So Dak Prescott down 44-17. 19 of 31, 188 yards, 2 picks. Can I interest you in that? Now, also I saw a guy in Justin Herbert. Now I said it last week. I'll say it again. I saw a guy Justin Herbert last week. Daniel Jones, Indiana Jones, came into his building, down 23-3, 130 yards, 2 picks. Like it just the criticism isn't as loud for certain players. Um, Earlier in the season, when Lamar went out, they were like Ravens fans were like, oh, but Lamar went out. They were down 27-10. It was the end of the third quarter, and Lamar had been playing pretty good and terrible up until that point as well. I mean, I'm just looking at this. Jalen Hurts versus Lamar Jackson. So far, for comparing first 73 career starts for Jalen Hurts and Lamar Jackson. Hurts has more passing yards, a better TD to interception ratio, better completion percentage. Lamar edges out with the higher passer rating and also has a slightly better overall record. Hurts is 51-22. Lamar is 54-19. But I mean, you're looking at this, and we need to have a conversation because also one guy, which they didn't mention on here, one guy has a Super Bowl MVP, Super Bowl champion, outplayed the guy on the biggest stage multiple times. That Lamar, Josh Allen, um, Justin Herbert, they can't beat him. Joe Burrow is the only one that I trust in the playoffs to go and beat Patrick Mahomes. Um, Simply because he's done it before in the big moments. Granted, he's 1-1, but he went into Mahomes' building with the worst team, came out with a victory. Um, so yeah, Joe Burrow's the only AFC quarterback that I'm trusting to go and beat Mahomes in the playoffs when it's all said and done. But right, so I post that today. The Hurts versus Lamar, first 30, there's 73 starts. Someone, a friend who replies like, no one is ever gonna take Hurts over Lamar. He said there was nothing that Jalen Hurts does better than Lamar Jackson. And he also said stats aren't everything, which leads us back to stats are everything. when it's time to rank Allen, when it's time to rank Herbert, when it's time to rank Lamar, when it's time to rank Joe Shiesty, when it's time to rank Mahomes. But when we bring this stuff out, now it's stats aren't everything. Look at the teams they're on. If Hurts didn't have a um super team, like you can plug any quarterback. I hate the if Hurts if whoever was um if Hurts isn't playing, then any quarterback can just come in and do it. Because believe it or not, um, you know, because people don't want to. So when Jalen Hurts doesn't play, we all saw it in 2023. We saw it in a bit. We saw it last season. The Eagles are 3-4. Now you would think the way people talk, like you just plug anyone in there. I watched Gardner Minshew get plugged into that first Super Bowl team, 2022. The team was not the same. I saw man, what? I'm forgetting our backup's name. Kenny Pickett. I saw Kenny Pickett get plugged into that offense, and that offense was not the same. That team was not the same. So don't. And when they have one, it's against bottom feeders, um, like just all around horrible teams. So yeah, I don't do. And also, yeah, that's the thing. We don't do what ifs, shoulda, coulda, woulda. If Dak had a better team, if Josh Allen, look who he's throwing to. Like, I don't do the what ifs. But first off, you're that MVP. If you're the MVP standard, you should be able to get it done regardless of who's throwing you the ball. Because I saw Jalen Hurts take a team with Quez Watkins, Miles Sanders, Devontae Smith. I saw him take that team to the playoffs. I saw him go to the Super Bowl the next year with a defense that, although they had 70 sacks, the pass defense was not that good. Outside of the front four, the defense was not that good. And I saw him take that team, carry that team, was going to win the MVP. He was favored until week 15, went out against Chicago with that injury. Once again, Gardner Minshew came in, and we saw what that offense looked like. I saw him already take that team with less talent to the Super Bowl. So why am I going to expect less of him with more when he already did more with less? Now we see guys across the league. But the guy like Baker Mayfield, he was like revived his career. Um, the main reason people were like being skeptical of him to begin with was why should we expect Baker to do more in Tampa when he was doing less with more talent in Cleveland? Now I remind you, and people will try to say they're washed, they're whatever. Those were still really good quality NFL caliber receivers in Odell Beckham Jr. and Jarvis Landry. He had David Njoku, he had Kareem Hunt, he had Nick Chubb, prime Nick Chubb. He had a top 2 offensive line, a top 2 defense, and that man won one playoff game. He a two-time coach of the year, Kevin Stefanski. And that man won one playoff game. So the thing was when he went to Tampa, it was like, why am I going to expect him to do more with Mike Evans and Godwin and now Buka, Rashad White, Bucky Irving, that defense, when he couldn't do it in Cleveland? It's a fair assessment. Um, Josh Allen. I could go through the guys he's had, maybe not this year, but he's had ample talent to get it done. Top 3 defense. I'm not going to go through all the names on defense, but he had a top 3 defense multiple times. He had Steph Diggs, Gabe Davis, James Cook, um, really good play calling. And that man, he couldn't beat Mahomes on the road, couldn't beat Mahomes in his building. When it mattered most. Now, Josh Allen, I think his playoff performances are not as revealing most times as Lamar Jackson, who, once again, yes, talent wise, no one is saying that Jalen Hurts is better than Lamar Jackson talent wise. But once again, talent is not everything. We have stats, we have talent, we have intangibles that you can't teach. We have the most important thing, winning. Jalen Hurts, that should be the biggest thing. Like when my friend was like, "There's nothing that Jalen Hurts does better than Lamar Jackson." How about winning? I find it so ironic that we move the goalposts for certain players. Um, you know, it just and it's really frustrating. Like you would think that Jalen Hurts is like like people think like what Jared Goff is. For some reason, that's the idea people think Jalen Hurts is a game manager who just mediocre, um, doesn't really shine that much. Like Jared Goff is who people think Jalen Hurts is. Like this guy will light up the stat sheet and he'll throw for 1,000,000 yards and everybody Amon Ra's getting touchdowns, Glock JMO, um, Jameer out the backfield, Montgomery. But when it matters most, for some reason, he's nowhere to be found. There is a reason why Sean McVay, after going to a Super Bowl, traded away the quarterback that got them there because he knew this is as far as Jared Goff can take us. And if Jared Goff couldn't win with that defense that he had with the Rams, that held the New England Patriots to 13 points in the Super Bowl, if he couldn't win with that team, why am I going to expect him to win with a team that is starting practice squad DBs that, they can be really inconsistent? No one's going to say Dan Campbell is better than Sean McVay. Like, why am I going to expect him to do more over here with less when he couldn't do it with more? It's like we gotta keep it objective. We have to keep a spade a spade. Um, and all that just goes to show Jalen Hurts is a better winner than guys like Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson. He's beaten them. He's undefeated against all those guys. Um, Granted that he's only played 1 or 2 games because AFC, but he is, I believe, 17-2 versus the AFC. When he throws it more than 30 times, I believe the Eagles are 20-5 or 21-5 now. Um, and to the haters that will continue to spew this rhetoric, I encourage you to keep it coming because this man has shown, whether it's the Steelers game last year, whether it's the Vikings game last week, the Giants game today, when the haters are the loudest, Super Bowl, biggest stage in football, Pee Wee, JUCO, high school, D1, NFL, biggest stage. That man lit up a very good Chiefs defense for 40. It was 40-6. Like they say he can't throw. Even so, that's another thing. The fan that watches TV, they'll be like, Jalen Hurts can't throw yet. Tom Brady, Joe Montana, Peyton Manning all say Jalen Hurts is the best deep thrower in football. But no. You guys at home, you guys know more than those players. I'm gonna leave it to you. Clearly, your knowledge expands more than 3 Hall of Famers and 3 of the best quarterbacks of all time. Clearly, you know more. Clearly, Tom Brady doesn't know what he's talking about. Clearly, Joe Montana has no idea what he's saying when he says that he'd start a franchise with Jalen Hurts out of all the quarterbacks in the league. Clearly, they're missing something that you guys are watching because you guys are the experts. You guys played 15 plus years in the league. You guys won Super Bowls. Oh no, wait, you didn't. So shut up, because you guys don't know. I listen to the players that actually play the game and played at a high level. When Isaiah Rodgers, after getting lit up by Jalen Hurts and AJ Brown, comes out in a post game press conference and says, I don't understand why the media hates on this guy. He's one of the best throwers in the league, makes all the right pre snap reads, makes all the right throws, the right plays to get his team to win. That's what you want in your quarterback. When the opposing DB says stuff like that, like it just it's like I don't understand. Like when people try to say AJ Brown is in top five, he's in this. Like that's y'all. But when I hear Pastor Tan, who's arguably the best, not arguably, he's Pastor Tan. We'll just say best DB in football. Obviously, Derek Stingley, Quinn Yamino Bay, other guys. But when I hear Pastor Tan say, "Yeah, AJ Brown is the best man one-on-one corner in the league," I listen to those guys. I don't listen to guys, certain people on ESPN. We're not gonna mention their names. I'm not gonna listen to random people on Instagram, Twitter, like people who think they know what they're talking about. You're probably gonna want to listen to those guys, the players that actually play at a high level, before you listen to some troll on the internet who has no clue what they're talking about. Um, that's just me. Once again, you guys could know more than Tom Brady, Joe Montana, Peyton Manning. You guys, could know more than those guys because you got box score merchants. You guys look at the box score and don't actually go into the context of games. But all that goes to say, Eagles dominant win today. I mean, Hurts 15 of 20. Once again, Mr. Efficient, 15 of 20, buck 80 and 4 tuds. Took some sack. He's holding on the ball a bit too long, but once again, no one's really. That's when no one's really open. Um, and sometimes he hurts. You got to take off, but he played well today. Saquon Barkley, Saquon Barkley, finally got let loose. We're looking at 14, a buck 50, and a touchdown. Had another one receiving. Had 4 catches for 24 yards. Kevin Patullo and the offensive line finally showed up to play today against the New York Giants front. That included Dexter Lawrence, Burns, Carter, Thibodeau. They were all there. The other D tackle, solid player, Okereke, they ran through him. Tank Bigsby, can I interest you in 9 carries for a buck 04? He played well today as well. I'm just looking at this. Tank Bigsby needs to be RB2. There's no discussion. I don't know why you trade for a guy if you don't use him. But Eagles rushing attack, you rush in total for 254 yards. This needs to be the message sent by Kevin Patullo and the Eagles offense every single week. Now, passing game, Devontae, of course, 6 for 84. Didn't get in the end zone, but National Tight Ends Day. It was Dallas Goedert's Day. 3 for 28, 2 tuds. Jahan, mossed him. He had that one grab, but it mossed the DB. 40-yard dot. Once again, Jalen Hurts has Jalen Hurts, believe it or not, the guy that can't throw has the most deep ball touchdowns of 35 or more yards since 2022. Bet you box score merchants did not know that. But anyway, back to my originally scheduled programming. Xavier Gibson, Darius Cooper almost had a catch. It was broken up, but it was interference. But it was good to see 80. The NFL, the Eagles, Meek Mill. Um, good to see him on the field today. Running routes, blocking. He created a couple key blocks in the run game today, including a couple of those Bigsby breakout runs. This needs to be the message for the Eagles offense once again. Run the ball. Now, It's gonna be a bye week, then Green Bay. Now, the Eagles are notorious for every time they played the Cowboys, when they ran the ball, they would leave Micah completely unblocked, forcing him to choose, do I stick with Hurts and the RPO? Do I follow Saquon? What do I do? He froze. They remember that touchdown. Um, Cowboys at Eagles 2022, I believe it was, where they literally called Micah in that situation. Lane Johnson did an incredible job. Hurts hits Devontae on the RPO slant touchdown. Um, they need to come out with that against Green Bay. Rashawn Gary as well. Shout out Michigan, Rashawn Gary. They need to take him out of the game as well. Heck of a player. Big Devontae Wyatt, Quay Walker, Georgia boys. Got to make sure those guys are neutralized. They got a good linebacker group. The Green Bay Packers have also the Green Bay Packers also have a top 5 linebacker unit in the National Football League. This is going to be a really big test for that Eagles offensive line. Um, this is another game where AJ should be back. Attack, bro. Like when Keyshawn Nixon was on that 3-game stretch in the first 3 games of the season, and people were for some reason convinced that he was like this top 5 corner. He was of this, he was of that. I don't think people understand, like, when you have a pass rush and your corners only have to hold for 2.5 seconds, that's easy. That's light work. You got Micah, you got Rashawn Gary, got Quay Walker, Edgerrin Cooper. Like when you got these guys, it's easy for guys like Keyshawn Nixon to seem like they're like this like all pro player. Now we saw recent weeks for the pass rush did not get home as much. That they looked Keyshawn Nixon looked like Keyshawn Nixon. He's a jet, he's a guy. Don't get me started about Corey Ballantyne on the other side of the field. Like, I mean, we saw it in the playoff game. We saw it in week 1 where Jair was getting cooked, getting fried. Um, like we've seen it too many times before. One Xavier McKinney, he's that dude at the safety spot. But in overall, the Eagles should be able to attack this secondary, these corners with ease, especially if they bring it. Um, Dallas Goedert, he could have a day if the Packers, bring the heat. Um, but this it's going to be really a really exciting game. Once an Eagles defense, Packers O line is pretty good. We got Jalen Carter. Um, you know, Jalen Hunt, Uche, BG. Hopefully, we'll see him against Green Bay. Um, you know, other guys, Patrick Johnson. Shout out Patrick Johnson, Jahad Campbell, Jordan Davis, the crew. Um, but and I'm really excited to see Quinn Bay lock up because we know there's no Jaden Reed. I'm not sure if Christian Watson is back, but you got Romeo Dobbs, still got Wicks, still got dudes who can catch and run and beat you. So I'm really excited to see this week's matchup. And one more thing before we head it off here. Once again, Dak Prescott today, 19 of 31, 188 yards, 2 picks, 0 touchdowns. Um, Passer rating of 51. QBR of 51. Now, is that good? Because people keep telling me guys like Dak are better throwers of the football, and they do this, and look if they had who and so on their team, and I mean, guy like wide receivers seem neutralized today based on what I was watching. Um, Both of them had 7 catches. Lamb and Pickens for like 75 yards. Um, no tuds for either of them. Looks like Tolbert had the one lone passing touchdown. Javonte Williams, he had a couple of goal line touchdowns, but 13 carries for 41 yards. You're not going anywhere with that. But Eagles, the Birds got that dub today. Um, as my Wolverines won last night as well. Rivalry game, put foots in them, Michigan State. Um, but Jalen Hurts, there's so many things I can point to that Jalen Hurts does better than Lamar Jackson. I could make a whole video about that. But just want to focus the positive, the win. Saquon finally got let loose. Uh, you know, other guys, but this was a really big and Tank finally using Tank Bigsby. Fans have been screaming like, "What, Howie? What the heck did you trade for? Like, why would you trade for this dude? You're not going to use him." And he's just fumbling on kick return. Um, but the Giants they kept it early, but that Scatterboo injury, it's really unfortunate. It really took the life, out of not just the Giants but the stadium for a bit. Commentators mentioned it, but Goddard stepped up today. Other guys, Devontae showing that he's a wide receiver one in this league. Um, you know, but great team win. Hope we take that momentum to next week against Mr. Roller Coaster himself, Jordan Love. But hey man, it's your boy. If we talk with PA, we're always keep it a buck, always keep it a stack over here, man. I'm out.